Hi, welcome to this class. If you are here, it means that you have seen my carousel where I explain to you the expenses that you are omitting when you are charging your clients. So this class is just like a guide explaining a little bit deeper than what you read on the carousel of the terms that I mentioned over there, right? So a brief introduction about me before I start. My name is Akinola Kifaya, and I help businesses with bookkeeping for their business, right? I help them know what their monthly profit is every month. Is either I do it for them, I handle the bookkeeping for them, or I teach them how to do it in a one-on-one section or in a course, right? Over the years, and I also help businesses with pricing, right? I help them price and fix profitable prices for their goods and their services. And over the years, I've been able to help over 2,000 business owners with bookkeeping and pricing, including you that are listening to me today, because we are going to be learning from me. Now, let's get right into it without wasting much of our time, right? So what are the components of a profitable price? If you want to charge your client as a photographer, what are the things that you ought to ensure are inside the price that you're charging your clients, right? So the first thing, like I mentioned in the carousel, are your direct expenses. And these direct expenses are expenses that are directly related to that project. As a photographer, you would agree with me that each project is unique, right? Each project is unique. For you to carry out, and the expenses that would take you to carry out each project are different from each other, because the location where the event will take place, it varies a lot. Sometimes you have to go outside your state, and sometimes it has to be within your state. Even within your state, the cost of transportation varies, right? So you ought to know, be careful, carefully calculate all your direct expenses. Direct expenses are those expenses that are directly related to that project. They are directly related to that gig. You cannot carry out that gig without incurring that expenses. So if you are bringing in other photographers to help you with that particular event, then that expense will be included into the cost of carrying out that event, right? So you need to ensure that all the expenses that will take you to carry out that project are properly put into consideration before you tell your clients that, oh, this is the amount of money that I'm going to be charging you, right? So the second thing is your indirect expenses. Now, your indirect expenses are expenses that you use in your day-to-day activities of your business. For example, is your marketing, salaries, when you pay rent, when you pay for electricity bill. All of these things are indirect expenses. So you agree with me that you can carry out a photography gig, or you can carry out a job for a client without these expenses. Like, the amount of money you pay for rent in your store does not affect you going to carry out a project, right? So these ones are indirect expenses. So that is the difference between the two. So the third one is your depreciation expense. Even though this depreciation expense should be under your indirect expenses, is under your indirect expenses, but I intentionally brought it out because a lot of people don't, a lot of business owners don't pay attention to it, and it is very, very important, especially as a photographer, because you'll be investing your money in a lot of gadgets, expensive gadgets, your camera, your your lighting, your background. All these things are assets. Anything that you would use for your business for more than a year is an asset, and you have to calculate depreciation for them and ensure that each gig that you carry out are paying you back this money. So the same thing with your indirect expenses that I explained earlier, your marketing, your salaries, the rent and everything. The goal is that for each gig that you take in a month, they pay you back for those expenses, right? So they pay you back for those expenses. So your assets, like I was explaining, you have to break them down, right, and know how much depreciation is going to cost you on a monthly basis for these assets, because these assets will depreciate in value, right? And then it's also get to a time that you need to replace them. You need to buy maybe a better one than the one you were using before. So it's good for you to calculate their depreciation and deduct them every month from your total sales. And some people even go ahead to, save this amount of money so that when it is time for them to replace these assets, they can replace it easily, right? And you can also add this money into your business and use it to grow and scale your business, especially if you intend to have locations in different places. So the fourth thing, that component of your price that is very, very important, is your profit margin. So the first three that I mentioned, they are all expenses that you put together to get your total cost for that project, and then you're now going to put in your own profit. So how much profit would you be getting from this project? Now, profit margin depends on a lot of factors that I will not really be talking about here, right? So it contains a lot of factors, like the kind of brand you are building. Are you building a luxury brand, or are you building a normal brand? So if you're building a luxury brand, then definitely you can go as high as possible with your profit margin, right? So profit margin is like a percentage of your total cost, right? So these are the four things that are very, very important for you to have inside a profitable price. So no matter the amount of clients that you have, if you have up to 5, 6 clients, 7 clients in a month, you have to ensure that each gig that you get, these four things are imputed inside your price. So this way you are getting all your costs, and also you're adding your profit margin. And you're not always scared that you don't know if this gig, if the money that you charge this client to cover for your expenses, right? So okay, this a brief explanation that I wrote here. Direct expenses are expenses that are directly related to the job. Indirect expenses are expenses that are not directly related. Then depreciation expense is a breakdown of all of your assets, and then profit margin is how much percentage you are willing to add as your profit on each gig. That is just the simple explanation of everything. Now, you have to ensure that each gig you are taking covers all of these expenses. I have said this before. In order for your photography business to be successful, in order for it to be profitable and sustainable, you have to ensure that all of your expenses are covered, and you are also getting profit from each gig that you do. So at this point, you might be thinking, how do I quickly do all of these calculations anytime I get a call from a client, right? So let's assume that you get a call from a client, and you told the client, please give me some minutes, I'm going to get back to you. I think that is the right thing for you to do, than just blotting out any price off the top of your head. You most likely sabotage yourself. You most likely undercharge yourself, right? And even if these clients want to argue with price, at least if you have an idea of how much all of your cost is, and if this client is trying to what's this English again? If you are trying to bargain, yes, if the client is trying to bargain to know, okay, how much can you take this amount, or can you take this amount? You know how low you can go. You know that, okay, I can't go below this price because of my expenses and because of my profit. It's still better for you to have something that you're looking into than for you to be bringing just charging the clients off the top of your head. So if you're at this point, you are thinking, how can I quickly do all of these calculations without wasting time, right? So I created, especially because each gig is unique, right, from their direct expenses, right? Each gig, they are unique from each other. So like I said before, the transportation cost might be different. Some jobs you might need to take a photographer, and some you might not need to take a photographer with you. So each job is unique. The kind of package each client wants are different. Some want very expensive and quality products, while some they don't mind getting something that is not really expensive. Now, to avoid racking your brain each time a new client calls, I created a template that looks like this, right? So it has the tab where you can put in your direct expenses, the cost of your transportation, the cost of workmanship, if they'll be getting any, if you'll be renting anything. So the kind of photo book this client wants, acrylic frames, everything. So this tab in yellow will be doing the total cost for you. So you know how much to, this price tab is where you're going to know how much to charge this client exactly. So you can see the profit margin is already there. The total cost of your gig and your indirect expenses is already there. So this is where you are going to be putting in the calculation of your assets, and this is where you're going to be putting in your own monthly expenses, right? Then I also, this is the third page in this template where you're going to be setting up your business. So the acrylic photo book 10 by 20, how much is it? How much per sheet, right? So how much is it? Then you can edit this and then let it work for you. If you edit it, it's going to be showing you under this drop down arrow. So I created a short video just showing you how the template works, and this is the video. So this is a brief explanation of how the template works. So under this transportation, you can put in the quantity and the cost per person here. You can, if you are employing these services of other photographers, how many photographers are you employing, and then the cost per one person, right? Will you be renting anything? What kind of photo book is this client? Does this client want? And if the client does not want any, you can just pick not included in this client's package, right? So the same thing for the acrylic frames too. You can pick whichever one is this client is ordering for, and if this client does not want any, you can pick not included, right? So the cost, if you be giving the client flash DVDs, so just put in the price here, then briefcase as well, right? And if it's not there, you can put in not included. Now this total, everything that is in yellow here will be calculating automatically for you. So you just need to quickly fill in all of these things and get how much you should charge this client automatically. Very easy. Your indirect expenses will be added, your then the total cost of that gig will be calculated, and then your profit margin. There are calculations here, and it will be working automatically. So in less than 2 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes, you have gotten how much you should charge this client. So the next tab here is your indirect expenses tab. I already created a video that explains how all of this work. So this one is just a short video to show you how amazing this template is. So let me quickly do an example. Let's say your one person is going, and then one person you'll be spending 8,000 naira per person. If you be employing 2 photographers to go with you, and those 2 photographers, you'll be giving them 40,000 naira each. So those 2 will be 80,000 naira. So let's assume that you're not renting anything. You can see how the total has started to work up automatically, right? So let's say you're not renting anything, and let's say this client is getting the 10 by 12 by 36 synthetic photo book, and he or she wanted 2 of it, right? So you can see everything will be popping up and calculating for you automatically. So I created a video already explaining how to use this template. So I'm not going to be going much into it. So you need to stop self-sabotaging yourself and start charging clients the amount that will help you build a successful business out of your skill, right? You need to do that because your goal isn't to be in business for years without anything to show for it, God forbid, right? We don't want to just be doing business and then people are asking us what's happening, or you are wondering where is my business money, you don't know what's happening, you're just making the money and you can't find them again, or you've charged a client and at the end of the day you later realize that the amount you charge this client cannot cover for all the expenses, not stock of giving you anything from the job. So get this template today for just 5,200 naira and save yourself from running at a loss ever again. So if you want this template, there is a link below this video. You can click on it and get it for just 5,200 naira. So start saving yourself from running at a loss ever again. Thank you.